Content.
schedule.
All right. So every now and then you meet somebody that's motherfucking famous Jeremy. What's up, Jeremy?
Not much. How are you, Chris?
I'm doing good, man. So talk a little bit about your brand and what you're doing.
So, Famous is the world's first and only ultra premium energy drink, crafted with natural ingredients that are actually good for you
Now
to
talk about
consume.
natural ingredients for anyone that doesn't understand that term.
So, basically, most energy drinks out in the marketplace, in fact, pretty much all of them, they have to use artificial and synthetic ingredients to keep their costs down. So you've got this kind of cost limiter of, back in the day it was, 2.99, 2 for $5, things of that nature. And, you can't use natural ingredients across the board and get yourself there. The other thing too is, a lot of emphasis is put on the nutritional fact panel on the back, 0 calories, 0 sugar, zero this. Well, when you use natural ingredients, there's natural things in those ingredients, like natural sugars and some natural calories and some natural carbs. And so, when you look at the back of a drink and it's got zeros, you know that they're using artificial and synthetic ingredients. And so, obviously, I think most people know that traditional energy drinks are not that great for you, right? They've got a lot of stuff in there that
Let's be
really
honest. Let's
probably
not use the
should.
word traditional. 95% of all energy drinks are fucking garbage. You're literally pouring
100%.
garbage into your body. Your body's literally got to sit there and go, what the fuck is this shit? And how do I fucking decipher this shit? And what is it exactly with these man-made chemicals that I'm supposed to do with this shit? Because God did not give me the fucking ability to break down this shit. So therefore, you're basically pouring poison into your body. You want to know the
Correct.
greatest chemical you can put for a natural energy drink? Coffee, motherfuckers. That's right. It came from a fucking plant. It's a bean. Put that shit in your body. And then just leave it alone. Just put black coffee in your body. You want to add anything? Go ahead, add it. But at the end of the day, when you add all the fucking man-made shit, that's not what God wants you to put in your body, and your body doesn't want it either.
So it's funny you mentioned coffee. Our caffeine actually comes from an ingredient called coffee berry, which was basically developed by a company called Futureceuticals, and it's actually the harvested coffee fruit plant. They take the remaining, once they've harvested the bean out of there, and they run it through an extrusion process and extract the oils, which have natural caffeine built into it. So if you've ever had natural caffeine, versus synthetic caffeine, your body just processes it so much different, and
Oh
it, and
yeah,
it hits a
natural
lot different.
caffeine. Like people like say, "Hey, coffee keeps me up." Natural coffee caffeine doesn't affect my body negatively. But if I have artificial or synthetic caffeine in my body, I'm not kidding you. I have the fucking shakes. And the
Well,
reason
and
why
that's
your
what those
body's
shakes
shaking,
come from.
yeah, your body's basically shaking because it's like, yo, motherfucker, what the fuck is this poison and why did you fucking put it in our body?
Yeah, people don't realize that, how your body processes artificial and synthetic ingredients, basically, is a huge contributing factor to how you look and feel. That's one of our
And you
taglines
don't
is.
get this with synthetics. This doesn't happen with synthetics. This is what I call au natural.
um, yeah, there's such a huge difference. And when I started to develop Famous, I had the ability to kind of really see what was going on in the marketplace at that time, and the ingredients that were going into these things. You start doing some deep dives into these labels and the ingredients that are on there, half of which you can't even pronounce, let alone know exactly what they are. It gets scary. And
Yeah.
so as we looked across the board, to just the beverage categories in general, we noticed something that existed in pretty much every other beverage category, like juices and kombuchas and sodas and wines and spirits and beers.
All right,
But
I got to stop you right there. Seriously, what the fuck is it with kombucha? That's straight up fucking vinegar.
it's a live culture. It's not my cup of tea.
I'm
I,
pretty
I know a lot
sure
of people swear by it, but
I'm
it's
pretty sure it's a fucking hippie Starbucks culture thing. Everyone's like, yeah, put this shit in your body. I've tried that stuff, and people are like, oh, it's so good. I'm like, Do you fucking hate your tongue? Like, what is that? That's straight up fucking vinegar.
Well, yes, we can agree on that. But what I noticed is that every one of those categories has, what we'd consider your cheap, your cheap version, right? Your cheap sodas, your cheap juices. You have your everyday drinkers, which are a little bit more higher quality, and then you've got your premiums.
Just like anything in life.
Just like anything in life. But guess what? The only drink category that we could find that did not have a premium option was the energy drink segment. And at first, you're like, kind of like, well, I mean, Red Bull kind of claims to be premium. Monsters, Ultra claims to be a little bit premium.
Does it give you wings? Does your drink give people wings?
I'm still looking into that. I'll get back to you with what I find. So we started digging, and I'm just like, nothing's here. And so that was the kind of the start of the process, right? Before we had a name, before we had a brand, before we had an image.
All right, so let's talk about that. How did you come up with Famus?
So it's a long story, and it's you're getting the tail end of weeks and weeks of sitting down and developing the brand, right? So my roots go back to brand development. I had I used to work with companies to grow their brands through media marketing and merchandise. I used to make a lot of products and help companies develop their everything from their logos to their merchandise to how they present. And creating a brand is not easy, right?
No,
everybody thinks, oh, it's exciting and this and this. It's like, well, there is that part of it, but trying to find the right name, right? So today's modern age on how you come up with a name is, first you go to all the social media platforms and you type in a million different names to see who has those handles because that is your start and end point on 90% of the names that you come up with, because they already exist somewhere on somebody's platform, right? So if you type in Famus as in the regular spelling, there's all kinds of derivatives of that. So we went through, I don't know, dozens and dozens of options. And then finally somebody threw out, what about Famus? And I was like, yeah, that word's going to be taken everywhere. And they said, no. What if we spell it differently? So we played around with that a little bit, came up with the FAMUS, and we really liked it. Started, searching the handles and found Famous and Live Famous, and we're able to kind of scoop all those up. And that was kind of, the light bulb moment, right? We were all sitting in a room and actually I was driving home from our office, and my partner calls me up and he goes, what about Famous? And that was the exact conversation. And I said, I like it. Let's see if we can get all the handles. And sure enough, my team jumped on it, got everything buttoned up. And so that's kind of how we came up with the name. All
right. So now I got to ask you this question.
Yeah.
You say my team. I know my team consists of a bunch of developers and 3 dogs. What does your team consist of? And by the way, do not discount the value of a good set of dogs.
So my team consists of people that I've worked with throughout my career that, as I was setting this up, I had the opportunity to bring in the best and brightest. People that I wanted to surround myself with to make.
Let's name some names. Let's give them some shout outs.
So I've got a team of, one of the first things I did is I went to a guy by the name of Chuck.
What's up, Chuck?
I've known Chuck, for 20 plus years.
Wait, you're not talking about Charles Barkley, are you?
No, not.
Because that's the only Chuck I know, and that's the best of the best.
No, another Chuck, family friend for a long, long time. We stayed in touch together throughout our careers, and always wanted to do a project together, and had a couple opportunities.
If Charles Barkley asked you for a job, would you hire him?
No. What are you talking about?
You wouldn't give Charles Barkley a spot on the team?
I'm a Laker.
You're a Laker.
Yeah. Give me somebody.
Like, did the Lakers ever have a good Chuck?
That is a good question.
I don't think they have.
Conversation for another time. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but
How are your Lakers doing these days, by the way?
Yeah, we're
Shout out to JJ Redick.
they play 80 plus games a season. That's something, right?
That is true. It is true. And
Um,
this goes to prove you can do a podcast. It doesn't necessarily mean you can coach an NBA franchise.
yes, well, true. So I went to him. We knew that in order to expedite this from a cost standpoint, having a marketing media company come in as an actual equity participant in the business was going to save us a ton of time and a ton of money. And so we did that. We brought a company called Traffic Media out of Louisville. Wonderful company, great group of guys up there, small boutique type of
you gotta
group.
love the name Traffic Media. I need traffic. Okay, well, we're the guys.
Exactly. Great setup there. And, they basically were able to come on and set up all our website, e-com, Amazon store, the things that, you would typically spend a lot of money on your startup to do. That was kind of their way of, that was their buy-in, right? The way that I structured this initially was, we didn't go out and raise tens of millions of dollars like everybody else does. We created and crafted a small
Doesn't
group of
hurt to have
individuals.
tens of millions of dollars, by the way.
It doesn't, but you know what you do when you raise tens of millions on a startup is you give away a lot of your company to do that. And so our goal was to run lean and mean, right? We didn't bring any employees on. Everybody that was involved in this was all equity participants. And we were able to, get this completely formulated and launched that way.
Talk a little bit about sweat equity, because when you are a founder, when you come up with an idea, a company, a business, and you got to sell people on the idea of giving up sweat equity to be a part of this team, talk a little bit about what that takes. Talk a little bit about what it takes to share your vision with people and get them excited, because I don't think people appreciate that when you're a CEO and a founder of a company, you're its number one salesperson. Company doesn't exist unless you can sell and close people on the idea of building this company.
So yeah, building the vision is like that. That's the most important thing you can do, as a startup, as the CEO, it's your job is to maintain that vision and keep that as your true north, as you grow, because there's gonna be a million rabbit holes you can go down and chase to get this business or that business. But I think if you can start by, understanding what you are and who you are too, right up front, is going to save you a lot of time and energy. As it relates to sweat equity, traditional investors, your private equity guys, your VC guys, they don't give two craps about sweat equity, right? They want to see the dollars in. But sweat equity has a tremendous value, especially in a startup, because it's money that you don't have to either spend yourself or go out and raise. And the less money that you got to spend yourself, the less money that you got to go out and raise means the more control you're going to keep over that business, over the longevity of it. People get very tunnel visioned into the here and nows, and they don't look at what does 3 to 5 years down the road look like. And I can tell you right now, you go to any entrepreneur that raised a ton of capital up front and gave away a ton of his business and is now working to try to buy all that equity back, they'll all tell you the same thing. I wish I had just, gone a little slower, a little smaller, and kept a little bit more control up front. Obviously that's not always the case, but in this circumstance it was. And so, I had a lot of really just young, energetic, guys and girls that saw the vision. They were big into the energy drink space, daily drinkers. They saw the problem that was out there. They saw, the niche that Famus was. They saw the problem that it fixed, and they bought all in. And I'm extremely grateful for all of them and all the efforts that they've put in over the last couple of years to get us to kind of the precipice of where we're at today, which is a full national launch. So I do not discount sweat equity because you're still working, right? You're just not getting paid for it. You're betting on the come line, right? If it's a craps analogy, you're doing work now to hope that it pays off down the road, and whether that down the road is 6 months, a year, 5 years, there's no guarantee in business, right? They could put all this work and effort in, and this thing goes to funk next year, and it's all for nothing, right? Other than maybe experience. So I value those guys tremendously because it's a when you put in sweat equity, you're not only putting faith in the product, you're putting faith in the team behind it.
They're putting faith in you.
Yeah, I mean, I listen. The humility side of me, I hate pointing to me because I'm just I'm the conductor. I don't move without a huge army of people surrounding me and doing all the nitty gritty stuff that has to get done to make this thing successful. Nobody, I don't care who you are as an entrepreneur, no one's successful all on their own. Along the way, there's always people that you need to lean on, that you need to surround yourself with, that are going to be that spark that you need, whether it's the creative idea or that viral moment or a sound business judgment. I've always prided myself on surrounding myself with smarter people than I, and so far that's worked out rather well. So you won't ever hear me just take sole credit for any of this. It might have started with me, but it's certainly.
Well, it's funny because entrepreneurs always take that route. You won't hear me take sole credit. I got news for you. When somebody first decides to push this big rock up a fucking hill called a dream, a vision, a company, there is that one guy in the beginning that has to literally get underneath the rock, leverage his body, and start pushing. There is nobody else helping you in the beginning. So I got news for you. You should take sole credit because I got news for you. You were the first guy that started schlepping that rock up the hill. And now you got some other people helping you push the rock up the hill. But you're still the one that they look to push the hardest and to give leadership to. And leadership is something you can never discount. Great leaders, they're worth their weight in gold or Bitcoin, depending on what you.
Well, yes, agree. I will say I had a great team very early on, and so there wasn't a lot of rock pushing before I had other hands in there helping. So I will always give them all the credit in the world. Just we have a great team that's been compiled over the last couple of years that branches out to all aspects of running and launching an energy drink brand. I'd love to sit here and say I'm good at all these aspects, but I simply am not. I know what I know, so I do what I'm good at doing, and then I try to bring in people better than me to do those things that I don't. And
so you're married, right?
I am 25 years this year.
Jesus Christ, how did you do that?
Well, here's the thing. I don't know. I married way above my weight class. I still
wait a second. Did you just call your wife fat on a podcast?
It's a metaphor, Chris. Metaphor.
Honey, I wasn't referring to your actual weight.
Metaphorically speaking, yes. Why
don't you just say I'll kick the coverage?
I outkicked my coverage quite a ways. And
all right. So when you sat down with the wife and you said, "Honey, I have an idea," what was her first reaction?
Well, to her credit, she's always been supportive of the endeavors that I do, as crazy as they sound sometimes.
She's a keeper. She's a keeper right there. She's a keeper.
Yes, always, without a doubt. She is my true north, right? And she's what allows me to do and focus on the entrepreneurial side of my businesses. So, we've had 25 great years, 4 beautiful children, and they all keep me young and busy. I have 4.
You got 4 and a startup?
Yes.
You are a glutton for punishment.
I know.
All right, give the kids a shout out. If you don't give them a shout out in today's society, they're going to be like, my dad doesn't love me.
I have a 20-year-old named Bella who is currently a student at App State here in North Carolina.
Get good grades, Bella. Don't fuck it up, okay? That shit's expensive.
Yeah, no kidding. I have an 18-year-old senior named Olivia. I got a 15-year-old.
Don't fuck it up, Olivia. He needs you to get some of those grants, some of those paid. What's it called? When you get a paid college education?
Scholarships.
Scholarship. Get one of those scholarships, girl. Doesn't even matter if it's in fucking knitting. Try and get a knitting scholarship. You know how many people apply for that shit? Nobody.
Let's see, 15-year-old freshman named Sophia.
Sophia, you got a couple of years to fuck it up. Don't worry about it. It only matters what you do in your senior year.
And a 3rd grader, 9-year-old named Tyson.
Oh, yeah, I don't even know what he's doing. What do you do at third grade? Like, I think I was
You,
eating rocks in third grade. Anything you do above that, Tyson, you're good to go.
you come home from school and you play video games with your friends online. That's pretty much what you do at 9.
What's his video game of choice?
Oh my gosh. I think it is. Oh, what is the we buy all the gift cards for Roblox.
Roblox? That's the game. That's the one.
Roblox. Yes,
All right,
that
way to go,
seems to be
kiddo.
the game. So
Listen, my shit when I was a kid was fucking Risk, and you don't even know what that game is, probably.
I was a Risk master.
Oh my God, dude, we had so many people playing Risk. We combined two games so that we could literally have more armies.
I my philosophy was always take Australia first and work your way out
Yeah,
because
but
it
see,
was the
Australia,
easiest to defend.
you're fucked a little bit in Australia because you get that one entry point, but that also means you have to go all through fucking Russia to get anything else. So you're kind of fucked when you're in Australia, especially if they pigeonhole you in there. My favorite one,
No,
absolutely.
Australia and South America, like those are my two. Because South
Now,
America has 2
yeah, but see,
points,
South
Australia's
America is
1.
weird because it's only worth two extra armies every time. The one to go for is the United fucking States of America. You fucking hold that shit. You hold off the Russians in Alaska. You take fucking Greenland. Way to go, Trumpy. About fucking time. I think Trumpy thinks he's playing Risk right now. He's like, I'm gonna put armies in Greenland. We're taking Greenland. Take Greenland, you hold that shit, and then you hold fucking Mexico, man. You hold that fucking little area down there. You get those 5 armies every time, then you dominate the world. You go in, you take out the UK. Let's be honest, the UK's fucked lately. By the way, for anyone
Well,
that is confused, Risk is a board game. We're not actually talking politics here.
yes, a lovely 80s board game. So
I think, did they ever make Risk into a real game, like a video game or a mobile game?
not, I'm sure there's an app, a Risk app
Probably.
somewhere floating out there. But
How did I fucking miss that? That would have been a great waste of my time.
a little nostalgia. But yeah, that's that seems to be the crux of a 9-year-old's day is video games of some sort. So
All right.
so
Well,
yeah, so that
yeah, they
is
got a shout out. They got a reason to
they
watch.
got their shout out. Yeah, they're
Dude, you didn't even give the
that's
wife a
the
shout out. You
family.
called her fat. You didn't even give her a name.
My wife's name is Amber.
Way to go, Amber. How you
and
doing? By the way, you're not fat. I don't even know what you look like, but we're not calling you fat at all.
no, she is the farthest thing from that. So
Go home today. She'll beat you to death with a wooden spoon.
no
What did you
kidding.
say that for? Honey, don't hit me, please.
Oh well, I don't even know where we were when we first even got off on that tangent,
We're talking about
yeah,
life.
that so basically that was I wanted to create a family environment for this company that was full of people that weren't there because they're getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, weren't paid because they thought this is a stepping stone to my next great
By the way,
conquest. They were
when you
there
guys
because
get rich, when you guys hit it big time, make sure to give all those people that put in that sweat equity those hundreds of thousands of dollars because they could use that money down the road.
so I've always found it interesting, with other entrepreneurs I've talked to, and you ask them, what was the best part of growing the business and selling it, and almost every one of them always said being able to write those separation checks to all the people that believed in the company when it was just a big nothing.
Okay, can
That
I
gave
give
them
you?
more satisfaction than putting money in the bank themselves.
Okay, so I'm gonna challenge you right now, and somewhere this week, today or tomorrow or sometime in the future, I want you to literally write separation checks for all your top guys, your entire company, and hand it to them and say, listen, you can't deposit it today, but every single day we're going to make every day count and we're going to make this check a reality.
No,
I
that's
think
a
you physically
great
do
idea.
that. That would be a great exercise.
Right now I've been working through, and this is just something this year, is being more intentional with my partners and my guys. I've been reading a lot and listening to a lot of things about
What have you read
words.
lately that stands out to you? What's the one thing that you've read that stands out to you? And don't
Well,
say all my text messages because obviously we know that's true.
no, it's kind of a combination. I'm on social a lot, right? Trying to just manage, our page and just keep my finger on the pulse of what's popular, what's going on. I love podcast snippets, right? I love, sometimes, I don't always have an hour or two to invest in
The
something.
little clips are like, Tic Tacs. They're like knowledgeable Tic Tacs. You can swallow them in 30 seconds and go, okay, I like that.
But, I love just, and I'm not like what you would consider a hardcore podcast guy. I like a lot of everybody, right? I think every podcaster's got little snippets and sections and things that they do within their podcast that have a tremendous amount of value, and I learn a lot from. And that's everybody from Rogan, on the high side, and you got Logan Paul, you've got some small local people that pop up. I feel like you can learn a lot from pretty much anybody. But one of the things I've been focused on this year is just words matter, right? Affirmation matters, and we go through life a lot of times with this thought process that all these people close to me, they kind of they know how I feel, they know where my mindset is, but that's not always the case, right? And sometimes it's good to just level set and really express that, in a way that, they can read and understand. I saw an article years ago. There's a CEO that every year hand wrote a birthday card to every one of his employees. I think he had something like 200 or 300 employees, and he made it a personal point every year to hand write a birthday card with just a small message. A huge monumental task. If you've ever written birthday cards, imagine writing hundreds of them a year. And I just saw that as such a personal way to connect with the people around you, the people that are, the difference of you being a success and you being a failure. So one of my focuses this year has been to be more intentional with my team. Basically, we are poised to make a huge jump this year, and things are going to get crazy and chaotic. So, I think at the end of a year, the start of a new year, it's always good to just kind of reset a bit with everything you do in your life, and really map out what the next year looks like. I am a big believer in just positive affirmation and not just yourself.
Okay, so I'm a big believer in that too. I want you right now to tell me 3 things that in 2025 you will do, meaning cross the finish line. You will literally do these 3 things in 2025 for your business. Go.
We are going to launch in a national grocery store chain.
Which
we
one?
Are going to,
say it so that they hear you. They have to hear you say it.
No, we're working. We're already in discussions with Kroger.
Hey, Kroger, are you listening? Let's go.
We are going to sign a partnership deal with a management group that's going to bring on a bunch of combat sport current champions and veterans that
give them a shout out. Who are
this brand. I can't say yet. So
okay,
that's the coming part. So
McGregor. McGregor, what are you doing these days?
No, it's not. It is not McGregor. Good Lord.
Tyson, Mike, can you hear me? What are you doing?
But we will sign that deal, and then we will make a serious dent into on-premise this year, which really has been.
What's on-premise? What does that mean?
So on-premise is your bars, your restaurants, your nightclubs, your hotels, your speakeasies. It's.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Here's what I think would be a great asset for you and your team. Where did Facebook blow up first? College campuses.
Correct.
Where did PayPal blow up first? College campuses. College campuses have the largest audience of buyers, people that will buy shit and literally brag about it on social media, and they're concentrated. And if you get on just a few great college campuses, you are going to blow the fuck up.
Well, I appreciate the confidence. We have done a few things in that age demographic. We always try to be careful when you're dealing with young adults or kids. I struggle. I do not let my kids drink any energy drinks, right? but I will let them drink Famus, and that's just a personal belief of mine because I know what's in Famus, right? And nothing in there's going to harm them, nothing's going to hurt them. And
so if you could call out 3 college campuses right now to get them excited about bringing your brand to their campus, which are those 3? Put them in order.
Well, I got to give a shout out to App State where my daughter goes, and
where is it? What's it called?
Appalachian State.
Appalachian State. What are they? The Gophers? The proud the muscular
Mountaineers.
Gophers? The Mountaineers.
The App State Mountaineers. Yep.
Let's go, Mountaineers. Let's go. Don't fuck this one up. Let's go.
Let's see. We'll give a shout out to UNLV. We're gonna have a huge Vegas presence, and so I think
running Rebels. You ever see that logo? That's a badass logo. Have you ever thought about putting that motherfucker on your can? And he's got guns. Like he's got 6 guns.
He's ready to go.
All right, third one.
Well, I got to go back to my first and foremost level, the Ohio State University.
What the fuck is a Buckeye? Is that like a fucking piece of turd that came
out? The team up north will tell you it's a worthless nut. But at the end of the day, yes, it's just a nut from a tree there, that grow well in Ohio. So
all right, so hey Buckeyes, hey Brian, is it Brian Day? What's his name?
Ryan Day.
Ryan Day, wake the fuck up, okay? Let's go. Hey, I got an idea. How about you raise an NIL collective from every can sold to support those teams' athletic players? Not just teams, but specific players. And you can put the player that you support on the can periodically. How fucking genius is that shit? The more that people drink, the more that you can raise for the NIL collective. You could call it the Famous NIL Collective. You know how many fucking campuses would drink your shit?
Oh, they love it. I mean, at the end of the day, Famous isn't gimmicky, and I think that's sometimes gets lost, right? It just
kind of gimmicky. You got to have a gimmick. Listen, people think gimmicks are bad. I got news for you. Gimmicks are what people remember. It's marketing.
I think there's a difference between a gimmick and a quality brand. I think when you have a quality brand with a quality product that looks, feels, and tastes the way that it should.
All right, let me give you an example.
You don't have to get too gimmicky with it.
Let me give you an example. You remember the Slinky?
Oh yeah.
You know what the fucking Slinky really was? It was the coilings off of a plumber that was making plumbing tools, plumbing pipes. It was the coilings, and he brought her home for his kids to play with. It was the least quality product ever made by mankind. It was basically garbage. But he put it in a box, and he gave it a gimmicky song. You know what that song was? A slinky, wonderful toy. Remember that thing?
I do.
That thing was gimmicky as fuck. It was basically, he made videos of this coil walking downstairs. But guess what? He made millions off the Slinky. Shout out to the Slinky.
Shout out. No, I listen. I'm not against gimmicks. I think I think we would avoid the hokey kind of gimmicks.
Nobody wants to be
hokey product, right? So I think what we're trying to do is just get this product in the hands of people. Once they crack the top and they really taste it.
Hey, show one off. There's got to be one.
I'll have to press pause and go grab one.
Don't worry, nobody cares about pause. Get up and go. This is what we do. It's improvised.
Hold on. Here we go. Hold on.
Dude, I'm making this guy work today. I'm making him work for this podcast. Who the fuck keeps cans inside of his drawer? He's got a drawer dedicated just for Famous. Hey, if you guys want to ask a question, Jeremy, when I post this podcast, put it in the comments. Entrepreneurs love engaging with people.
All right, here we go.
Here it is.
So before I show it to you, when you create the world's first ultra premium energy drink, the one thing you cannot do is stick it in a can like everybody else does. So, and this was part of the development process, we went with an actual twist top aluminum bottle that's resealable.
Oh, I fucking love it. How big is that bottle? Is that 12?
This is a 16 ounce.
Oh, 16 ounce?
Yep.
Yeah, and the whole 8 ounces and 12 ounce cans are fucking ridiculous these days.
Well, for bigger guys like myself, those things are gone in about three swigs, right? And so 16 is my preferred. But here's
All
the
right,
thing:
what's
my
the
wife.
nutrition on that can? What is it? How much sugar is in it? Talk a little bit about some of the things that people should look for.
So this is our Havana Nights, and
What's
Havana
Havana Nights?
Nights
What does that taste like?
a mojito.
There we go. Okay, so it's got like the minty sweet flavor.
Has the spearmint and lime taste that you would get in a robust mojito. Part of, and we didn't go over this, but one of the things that I did on top of making the first ultra premium, we made every one of these flavors to pair perfectly with your favorite spirit. So,
Oh, I see what you did there.
so Havana Nights is when you literally put some some rum over top of the ice with 4 ounces of Havana Nights, and you got yourself a skinny mojito. We have a margarita flavor. We have an orange that pairs well with bourbons and whiskeys. And our original is one of the best vodka mixer drinks you will ever have. And instead of Red Bull and vodka, which most people don't like the taste, they're drinking it for the effect, and you're getting a ton of caffeine. We only put 125 milligrams of caffeine in this whole bottle. And the reason that we can do that is, one, it's clean, but two, we did a nutritional stack with yerba mate, Elevate TP, and L-theanine, which have kind of natural energizing properties as part of their basic ingredient. And so when stacked like that, you get that feeling that you've consumed more, but you don't have the jitters. You don't have that 200, 300 milligram caffeine crash that most energy drinks are going to give you. So it's clean, concise energy. It's a whole different feeling when you drink one. You kind of slowly work into feeling great, and then as it slowly slides you out, there's no crash, right? There's no jitters, there's no crash. So for mixability, each cocktail is going to give you about 25 to 30 milligrams of caffeine versus 80 plus. And so if you've ever been a Red Bull and vodka drinker like I was back in the day, and you get on your fourth or fifth one and you're getting those shakes, this is not going to do that. When you're done drinking, you want to go home for the night and go to bed, you're good to go. You stop drinking it, you're going to be ready. So from a nutritional standpoint, this particular one has 45 calories, so not a ton, just a few. No fat, no cholesterol, 45 milligrams of sodium, 27 carbs. That comes from dietary fibers and sugars that are, those are from the natural juices, right? So we, every flavor of our drinks has some core ingredients. One of them is yuzu juice. I don't know how familiar you are with the yuzu fruit, but the yuzu fruit is the most citrus robust fruit in the world. It grows in Southeast Asia and Japan. It's used a lot in culinary cooking purposes. So if you ever go to a Japanese steakhouse, a sushi place, you're going to get a lot of.
Dude, I got to tell you, Japanese steakhouse, like you had me at Japanese and steak. Like those people, I'm not kidding you. The Japanese people, they make steak better than anybody in the world.
It's amazing. So we took, instead of using citrus flavoring like everybody else does, we went out and sourced the most robust citrus flavored juice in the world, which is yuzu. And so we actually have fresh yuzu juice in every bottle. We've got lime, we've got lemon, we've got blood orange. We've got a lot of different, we went to the best of the best. We made chef quality ingredients into a drink.
So how much sugar is in there? Come on.
So 5 grams of sugar,
Not
zero,
bad. Yeah,
zero.
that's actually reasonable.
But here's the most important thing: 0 added sugar. That's where they get you. Okay. You go look at it, any of these drinks that aren't using synthetic or artificial ingredients, the added sugar is what really kills you. It's enormous. And so people are getting wiser. They're looking and going, okay, 5 grams of sugar, but all these ingredients are natural ingredients. So that sugar is coming from.
There's a big difference between natural sugar and corn syrup. And your body can burn natural sugar. And by the way, you should only be drinking an energy drink before you work out, not after your workout. You want to burn that sugar. You want to use this as an energy drink, not something that basically feeds your body sugar after you're done working out.
One of the other things that we did is we have.
By the way, hey, I don't mean to cut you off. You got 4 minutes left. You sure you got time?
Yeah,
We can always do a second episode, which I think we should probably do because rumor has it you got more flavors.
I do.
Not more children, more flavors.
Well, let's go another 15 and then let's cut it. And then, yeah, I'd love to jump on with you and do a second version. So just to finish up, we have we have 9 grams of fiber in this one, right? We've talked to a lot of, dietitians, and, getting daily fiber intake is it's near impossible for most people out there. And so we use a sweetener called agave inulin. It's got a lot of natural fiber in it, monk fruit extract, things of that nature. We also use erythritol, which is a natural, grain alcohol sugar. Again, we didn't go with artificial sweeteners, and I didn't want to throw a bunch of liquid sucrose or sucralose or dextrose or, all those other things into this thing. We wanted to keep it as pure as we possibly could. Now, I will tell you we did have to put a preservative in for shelf life. We are in the process here in about the next 4 months. We figured out a way to be able to formulate this without that. And so this, we'll call it phase 1. Phase 2 will be a fully 100% natural certification drink without any preservatives in, with the new formula. Won't taste any different. You don't taste preservatives, obviously, but they're required, obviously, to get your shelf life usage for retail. So initially, where we were producing, didn't have the ability to do the formula without preservatives, so we had to run it with. But the next iteration, that'll be coming out as well, and so we're excited about that. That's that next evolution, but. Yeah, the nice thing and the most thing we get compliments on is that the fact that you can look at the ingredient list and people know what's in there, right? You got water, erythritol, agave, grape juice concentrate, lime juice concentrate, yuzu juice, natural flavors, elevate.
How about food dye number 12,000? Do you have any of that?
No dyes.
How about
no
sargum
dyes.
anticipato? Do you have any sargum anticipato?
We do not.
All right. How about man-made ingredients number 58 and 59?
No, we decided to go with ancient apple peat extract instead.
I didn't even know an apple could pee. How do you get them to pee? Do you actually just hold the apple over the toilet and just catch it before it goes in the toilet?
No, you got to squeeze it real hard.
Well, I'll be honest with you. Just so you know, that's the first time we've talked about apple peeing on my podcast ever. So that's the first.
You're missing the T in there, Chris. It's apple peat. Peat with the T.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I didn't even know an apple could peat. And if that's what you call it, I go to the morning. Every morning I peat.
then we have coffee berry, which we talked about. Then we've got L-theanine, and we've got yerba mate, and then the
shout out to my buddy yerba mate.
Yeah,
I mean that's where you get your caffeine from, right?
There is. So here's what's cool about yerba mate, L-theanine, Elevate TP. They've got natural. Like
again with the P, right? TP.
The P with the T. There's natural energizing properties in those already, so you don't have to do as much caffeine as what you would use if you didn't have those. So, the nutritional stack of Famus it's fantastic.
Oh, I like that word, nutritional stack.
Yeah, I mean, because that's truly what it is. It's a nutritional stack that allows us to lower the caffeine amount and quantity, but still gives you that natural high that you're looking for when you drink an energy drink. That natural boost. All I can say is it hits different than anything that you've had out in the marketplace up until today. It's been sampled by everybody from top business executives to top athletes, and they all come back with the same thing. I love how this makes me feel, and I love how it doesn't make me feel, because that's just as important.
All right, so Jeremy, we got to do an episode 2. We got to talk about some of the other flavors, some of the things, check up on you in a couple of months and see where you're at and what you're doing. Make sure that we hold you accountable to building a world-class fucking brand.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate the time today. I appreciate you letting me talk. And
you're supposed to talk about it. Nobody wants to hear my shit all day. They want to
listen. We are beyond excited for 2025. Everything we've been marching for the last 18 months towards where we're at today.
Are you going to crush the fuck out of 2025? Are you just going to beat it like a drumstick and just absolutely kill this year?
I don't think there's word analogies enough to tell you what we're going to do to 2025, but stay tuned.
We're gonna check in.
Follow our socials. Check out our Instagram page. Look for the coming soon. The amount of announcements that are coming out over the next 8 to 12 weeks. They're going to be life changing for us, and they're going to be super exciting for our fans and for our customers.
Well, he's Jeremy Lantz. He is the founder of Famus. He is kicking ass. He is an entrepreneur. He is never going to fucking give up. He's a father of 4, and he's been a good time for the last hour.
Appreciate it, Chris. Thank you so much. By the way,
contrary to whatever rumors I've spread on this podcast, there really is no pee in those cans.
I appreciate the clarification.